Walsall is a major industrial town situated in the West Midlands, with a rich and varied history that transitions from a medieval market centre to a modern, well-connected hub. Historically rooted in the leather and metal trades, its early origins are distinguished by its development as an early metalworking hub, taking advantage of local ironstone and coal deposits long before the heavy industrialisation of later centuries. This era of early economic structuring was reinforced by the Resource Sharing Pact of 1300, an agreement which helped establish communal rights over surrounding lands and resources, and the early textile industrialisation, which saw the town manufacturing goods before the leather trade entirely took over its identity. The civic identity of Walsall flourished through the medieval period, beginning formally when it was granted a market charter in 1220, establishing it as a commercial centre for the surrounding agricultural settlements. By the 14th century, the town had grown significantly in self-governance, adopting a 14th-century mayoralty to manage its increasing administrative needs. The physical symbol of this commercial importance was the Market Cross, erected in 1386, which served as the traditional focal point for trading. The town's historical connection to the Earls of Warwick is remembered through the emblem of the bear and ragged staff, while the town enjoyed several royal rewards for its loyalty during periods of regional strife. A defining act of civic charity came in 1451 with Thomas Molesley's bequest, which established a tradition of distributing a penny to every person in Walsall on the eve of Epiphany, a custom that survived for centuries. The coming of the Industrial Revolution drastically altered Walsall's landscape, cementing its status as the town of 100 trades, and sparking a massive expansion in its transport infrastructure. The arrival of the railways connected the town's booming manufacturing base to the rest of the country. The Grand Junction Railway was one of the earliest to shape the region, while the South Staffordshire Railway and the Wolverhampton and Walsall Railway provided vital links for both passengers and heavy freight. Furthermore, the Chase Line and the Sutton Park Line allowed goods and commuters to traverse the wider Midlands, fundamentally transforming Walsall from a localised market town into a heavily integrated industrial powerhouse. Administratively, Walsall has seen significant shifts to reflect its growing population and economic importance. It initially held county borough status, operating with a high degree of independence, while geographically and ceremonially sitting within the county of Staffordshire. However, the sweeping local government reforms of 1974 brought an end to this historic alignment. Walsall was moved from the ceremonial county of Staffordshire to become part of the newly created West Midlands County, a transition that culminated in the formation of the Metropolitan Borough of Walsall, which consolidated the town and its surrounding urban and rural districts under a single unified local authority. According to the 2021 census records, the Walsall urban and unparished areas display a demographic tapestry shaped by post-war migration and modern diversity. The ethnicity data records the town as approximately 38.1% white, with a significant Asian or Asian British population making up 47%. Black or Black British residents account for 6.9%. Those of mixed ethnicity 3.5%, other ethnic groups 4%, and Arab populations 0.4%. The religious breakdown closely mirrors this ethnic diversity, with large Christian, Muslim, and Sikh communities living alongside residents of no religious affiliation, while the country of birth records highlight established communities originating from South Asia, the Caribbean, and Eastern Europe. Some notable landmarks of Walsall. 1. Aisha Mosque and Islamic Centre of Walsall, located on Rutter Street near the town centre. The Aisha Mosque has grown over the decades from a modest prayer space into a large, purpose-built community facility. It plays a vital role in the neighbourhood by offering daily prayer services, comprehensive youth education through its madrasa, funeral and matrimonial services, and regular community open days and interfaith events. 2. Baitul Muqit Mosque. Inaugurated in May 2018 by the global head of the Ahmadiyya community, Mirza Masroor Ahmad, this facility arose from the conversion of a disused warehouse on Vicarage Place in Caldmore. Accommodating up to 400 worshippers and featuring traditional Islamic architectural elements like a dome and minaret, it functions as a spiritual focal point and active hub for regional charity and interfaith initiatives. 3. 4 high-rise towers of Walsall, Brooks House, Bywater House, Milsom House, and Preston House, are prominent mid-20th century residential high-rise blocks, built during the post-war housing boom, to replace cramped terraced housing and provide essential high-density social accommodation. These towers have undergone extensive external modernization projects, including new render, insulation, and windows, to secure their longevity for the local community. 4. Masjid Al Farouk. Established on Milton Street in 1994 by the Anjuman-e-Ishaat-e-Islam charity, which originated in the late 1950s, this purpose-built Sunni mosque in the Palfrey ward is one of the town's most heavily attended Islamic institutions. It supports the local population by providing extensive madrasa facilities for children, structured congregational prayers, and long-standing community outreach programs. 5. New Art Gallery. Conceived as a flagship millennium project designed by the acclaimed architectural firm Caruso St. John and opened in 2000, this contemporary architectural masterpiece is celebrated worldwide for its innovative design. Built specifically to house the prestigious Garman-Ryan collection, which includes works by masters like Van Gogh, Monet, and Epstein, it stands as a premier cultural destination, offering free admission and creative workshops. 6. Old Square Shopping Centre. Originally developed as a mid-20th century retail hub to modernize the town centre's layout, and later revamped in the mid-2010s to host major high street names like Primark, this commercial complex now reflects the wider economic struggles of traditional UK high streets. Despite its central location, it contends with retail closures, vacant units, and declining footfall. 7. St. Matthew's Hall. Constructed in 1830 to 1831 in a striking Greek Doric style as a subscriber library, this Grade II listed building later transitioned through several identities, functioning as a savings bank and a county court from the mid-19th century until the 1990s, followed by a brief stint as a nightclub before its 1998 conversion into a popular J.D. Wetherspoon pub. 8. Walsall Council House. Designed by James Glenn Sivrite Gibson in an impressive Baroque style and completed in 1905, this Grade II listed building serves as the active seat of local government for the Walsall Metropolitan Borough Council. Beyond its administrative functions, it features intricate stone carvings by Henry Charles Fair, including a prominent figure of justice, alongside recent interior restorations that preserve its historic neoclassical plasterwork and chambers. 9. Town End House. Standing as a prominent mid-20th century commercial high-rise landmark near the core town centre of Walsall, Town End House was constructed to accommodate the town's expanding professional and administrative service sectors. Today, Town End House functions as a comprehensively refurbished business hub, providing flexible serviced office spaces. It remains a key commercial workspace provider in the town centre, supporting local enterprise and modern professional activity. 10. St. Matthew's Parish Church. Standing proudly on the highest point in the town centre, with foundations tracing back to the early 13th century, this Grade II listed medieval building remains an active Anglican parish church. Surviving Victorian rebuilds alongside its 15th century crypt and chancel, its soaring spire continues to serve as an iconic and historic fixture of the Walsall skyline. Today, Walsall functions prominently as a commuter town, balancing its own internal economy with the deep economic gravity of the wider West Midlands conurbation. It is a highly multicultural town, celebrated for its diverse community hubs, places of worship, and multicultural markets. Geographically and culturally, it acts as a transition point. It shares heavily integrated transport and economic connections with Birmingham, Wolverhampton, Sandwell, and Dudley, while retaining strong historical and rural links to Staffordshire and Shropshire. Bescot Stadium railway station, positioned on the modern Chase line, has origins tracing back to the earliest phases of the British railway network. It was originally opened as Bescot Bridge in 1837 by the Grand Junction Railway, a pioneering company that established a high-speed arterial link between the West Midlands and the North West. As traffic grew and local connections multiplied, the station was relocated slightly and reopened on the 1st of May 1850 simply as Bescot, before being designated as Bescot Junction later that year, to mark its increasing complexity as an operational crossroads. It is one of the many railway stations serving Walsall and its urban area, as well as the towns of Darlaston and Wednesbury. Throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries, the location expanded beyond a simple passenger stop into a vital multi-route nexus. It was connected directly to the former South Staffordshire line, which routed trains southwest toward Dudley and Stourbridge Junction, linking Walsall's heavy industries directly to the Black Country's mineral fields. Additionally, the station's network web included the former Darlaston Loop line, which curved away to serve local manufacturing works and populated districts before rejoining the main arteries. The immense scale of rail traffic passing through the area led to the establishment of the sprawling Bescot Junction sidings and marshalling yards. These yards grew into a massive freight handling facility under the London and North Western Railway and later British Railways, culminating in a major £1.5 million modernisation project completed in 1966 that enabled the yard to process thousands of coal, steel and merchandise wagons daily. Adjacent to these freight lines, the depot and tracks saw the physical landscape transformed when the route through Bescot was electrified in August 1966 as part of the London Midland electrification scheme. The heavy concentration of converging goods and passenger lines also exposed the junction to the hazards of mid-19th century railway operations. A tragic illustration of this occurred on the 8th of December 1854, when a South Staffordshire Railway passenger service originating from Walsall and hauled by a London and North Western Railway engine collided with a goods wagon. The wagon, projecting dangerously outward from an adjacent siding towards the main running line, struck the engine's tender, triggering a violent chain reaction that smashed into the four leading carriages. The resulting derailment caused severe structural damage, resulting in one passenger fatality and injuries to upwards of 20 others. In the latter half of the 20th century, passenger fortunes at the station shifted alongside local regeneration. On the 16th of August, 1990, the station was officially renamed Bescot Stadium to serve the newly constructed Bescot Stadium, built right next door as the home ground for Walsall Football Club. Following a brief temporary closure for platform and facility refurbishments, the station continues to operate as an essential commuter and matchday stop, flanked by its historic freight yards and the modern Bescot traction maintenance depot. Bloxwich Railway Station, situated in the historic market town of Bloxwich, within the northern part of the Walsall urban area, occupies an important place in the transport history of the region. The town's first railway access began when an earlier Bloxwich station was opened on the 1st of February 1858. Located a few hundred yards to the south of the current site, positioned just north of the former level crossing and the operational Bloxwich signal box, this original station served generations of local commuters and industrial workers before succumbing to changing national travel patterns. Amidst declining passenger numbers and the broader rationalization of the network, that original 19th century station was closed to passengers on the 18th of January 1965. It also serves the towns of Willenhall, Bilston and Wensfield, as well as the villages of Blakenall Heath, Pelsall and New Invention, as well as further afield the town of Brownhills. Following decades without passenger rail access after the closure, local advocacy and regional transport planning paved the way for the railway's triumphant return to the community. The present station opened on the 17th of April 1989 as part of the first stage of the reopening of the Chase line from Walsall to Hednesford to passenger trains under British Rail. This successful reopening restored vital commuter connectivity for the residents of Bloxwich, linking them directly back into Walsall, Birmingham and the wider West Midlands rail network, without relying exclusively on road transport. In the decades following its reopening, the infrastructure serving Bloxwich underwent further modernisation to meet the demands of a growing commuter population. As part of a major regional commitment to decarbonisation and faster, cleaner transit, the line through Bloxwich was electrified by December 2018. This engineering milestone culminated in the introduction of electric passenger services running along the route from May 2019, significantly improving journey reliability and environmental standards for passengers using the station today. Bloxwich North Railway Station serves the northern fringes of the town of Bloxwich and the surrounding residential estates of the Walsall urban area, acting as a crucial local stop on the Chase line. Unlike its historic counterparts that date back to the 19th century railway boom, Bloxwich North is a modern addition to the local transport network. It was opened on the 17th of April 1989 by British Rail, established simultaneously with Bloxwich Station as part of the first major phase to reopen the passenger line between Walsall and Hednesford. The station was purposefully built to serve the growing residential communities and housing developments in the northern parts of the district, giving suburban commuters direct rail access towards Walsall, Birmingham New Street, and Rugeley-Trent Valley. Its construction reflected the late 28th century push to integrate suburban housing estates back into the regional rail network, reducing car dependency and easing commuter congestion. In step with the rest of the Chase Line corridor, Bloxwich North underwent significant infrastructural upgrades to modernize its operations. The tracks passing through the station were electrified by December 2018, paving the way for cleaner, quieter, and more frequent electric passenger services that officially commenced operation in May 2019, ensuring the station remains a vital and sustainable transport link for the local community. Darlaston Railway Station represents one of the most significant recent transport milestones for the region, having officially opened on the 19th of March 2026. This modern facility serves as a flagship stop on the newly revived Walsall-Wolverhampton passenger line, establishing a direct rail link for the local community that connects services toward Birmingham New Street and Birmingham International in one direction, and toward Shrewsbury via Wolverhampton, Telford, and Wellington in the other. It serves the towns of Darlaston, Walsall, and Wednesbury, as well as surrounding areas such as Bentley, Coldmore, Paddock, Palfrey, Pleck, and Wood Green. The heritage of rail travel in Darlaston dates back nearly 2 centuries to the dawn of the network. The original station was opened as Darlaston by the Grand Junction Railway in 1837. It was located southeast of the current station, between Kendricks Road and Walsall Road. Between 1837 and September 1863, the station was, at various times, suffixed James, Bridge, James's Bridge, and Green. As the local rail web expanded during the Victorian era, the naming and positioning grew more complex. On the 14th of September 1863, a station named Darlaston was opened on the Darlaston Loop of the South Staffordshire Line. The 1837 station then became known as James Bridge. On the 1st of November 1887, the 1863 station closed, and the 1837 station changed its name to James Bridge for Darlaston. In March 1889, the name changed to Darlaston and James Bridge, before the entire location eventually succumbed to declining passenger numbers and the beaching cuts, closing in 1965. Darlaston's railway history is further defined by the complex web of routes that once threaded through the industrial district, most notably the former Darlaston Loop Line. This strategic branch line diverged from the main route, routing trains to continue towards either Walsall or toward Wednesbury Town, via the historic 1863 Darlaston station site. It served as a crucial artery for both local workers and freight traffic, before the changing economic landscape and mid-20th century closures dismantled the loop. The journey toward restoring rail services to Darlaston was a long and politically driven effort. Andy Street pledged in his mayoral campaign in 2017 to reopen the station, however, no opening timeline was given. In September 2017, the West Midlands Combined Authority proposed reopening the station by 2024 as part of the region's £4 billion transport plan, along with Willenhall. Plans for the new station were published in August 2018, with the station proposed to be located on Kendricks Road, northwest of the former station site. Despite these clear ambitions, the project faced a series of administrative and logistical hurdles. Despite press reports that the planning application for the station was formally submitted in March 2020, this did not happen until July. Planning permission was granted in October 2020, and the station was planned to open in 2023. In March 2021, it was stated that full construction would start in the autumn. Construction paused in September 2023, before resuming in October with new contractors. Following the resolution of these delays and the completion of major track and infrastructure works, the brand new Darlaston station finally welcomed its first passengers in March 2026. Today, it stands as a modern commuter hub on Kendricks Road, successfully reconnecting Darlaston to the wider West Midlands rail grid after 6 decades without a local passenger station. However, when the Walsall-Wolverhampton line reopened for passenger services, the timetable utilised an existing Birmingham New Street to Shrewsbury service routed via Wolverhampton, serving the new Willenhall and Darlaston stations while bypassing Walsall station altogether. This bypass occurred because the selected operational pattern extended a pre-existing regional route, rather than running a dedicated local shuttle directly into Walsall's terminal. Service extension. Transport planners routed the trains from Shrewsbury and Wolverhampton straight through the newly built Black Country platforms toward Birmingham New Street. Operational integration, using an existing cross-regional path, limited the need for extra rolling stock or bespoke turnaround paths at Walsall. Capacity and priorities. The primary design focused on giving Darlaston and Willenhall a direct connection to Wolverhampton and Birmingham, rather than creating a local loop through Walsall. Consequently, the bypassing of the main Walsall station led to political and local anger due to the town being effectively bypassed. Local leaders in Walsall criticized the omission of a direct town centre stop as counterintuitive given the local investment. Transport authorities noted that these concerns are viewed as something to be fixed in the future, with supplementary or secondary shuttle services providing direct connections to Walsall remaining under active discussion. Tame Bridge Parkway railway station stands as a vital transport interchange and modern park and ride facility situated on the border of the Walsall and Sandwell metropolitan boroughs. Operating on the historic former Grand Junction railway line between Wolverhampton and Birmingham, the station forms a crucial transit link for the densely populated surrounding districts, bridging the gap between local suburban communities and the wider West Midlands rail network. It also serves nearby areas such as Bescot, Charlemont with Grove Vale Estate, Friar Park, Fulbrook, Moor Green, Pulfrey, Stonecross, the Delves and Yew Tree Estate. The establishment of Tame Bridge Parkway in the late 20th century was part of a regional transport strategy to introduce accessible, multimodal interchange stations equipped with extensive parking for commuters. In doing so, it effectively replaced the closed Newton Road railway station, which had historically served passengers near Great Barr and West Bromwich, before closing down amid the mid-23th century network rationalisation and passenger decline. Positioned strategically to serve a wide and busy catchment zone, the station serves both the Walsall, Wednesbury and West Bromwich urban areas. By providing direct, frequent rail services into major urban hubs like Birmingham New Street and Wolverhampton, the station has played an essential role in easing regional road congestion and offering reliable public transport alternatives for thousands of daily commuters across the Black Country. In addition to its role as a passenger hub, Tame Bridge Parkway is deeply embedded in the industrial and infrastructural geography of the Black Country. The surrounding landscape is defined by a dense network of freight lines, historic canals, and major arterial roadways, reflecting the area's rich manufacturing heritage. The station area has seen continuous adaptation to handle the demands of a modern commuter base, while maintaining its connection to the heavy rail corridors that have crisscrossed the region since the Victorian era. Looking toward the future, the station remains a focal point for regional transport planning and integration, as the West Midlands Combined Authority continues to develop multimodal transit strategies, including enhanced bus links, cycling infrastructure, and regional rail upgrades. Tame Bridge Parkway is positioned to play an even greater role in reducing carbon emissions and streamlining cross-boundary travel between Walsall, Sandwell, and Birmingham. Walsall railway station serves as a historic and modern focal point for rail transport in the West Midlands, though its network has drastically changed over the decades. The station's rich operational history was defined by a convergence of vital routes, including the South Staffordshire line toward Dudley and Stourbridge Junction, the South Staffordshire line toward Lichfield and Burton-upon-Trent, the Sutton Park line, the former Wolverhampton and Walsall Railway, and the Darlaston Loop line. Its physical identity was also radically transformed when its grand 1923 Grecian-style circular booking hall was demolished to make way for the Sadler's Shopping Centre, resulting in the station being rebuilt underneath the retail complex with a much more functional concourse. Today, the most prominent route serving the station is the suburban Chase line, which heads north from Walsall. Following a major revival, passenger services were restored to the route in stages starting in 1989. For a time, Chase line trains operated all the way to Stafford, but this service was cut back in December 2008. The line now terminates at Rushall Trent Valley, where it meets the West Coast Main Line. A comprehensive electrification project completed in late 2018 has allowed fast electric passenger trains to operate between Rushall, Walsall, and Birmingham New Street. Historically, Walsall was a major node for the sprawling South Staffordshire line, with services diverging southwest towards Dudley and Stourbridge Junction. Opened in the mid-19th century, this route was a vital artery for the heavy industries of the Black Country, carrying immense volumes of coal, steel, and manufactured goods. Passenger services connected Walsall directly to towns like Wednesbury, Great Bridge, and Dudley, before continuing towards Stourbridge. Although passenger services succumbed to mid-20th century cuts, the corridor's legacy remains significant, with sections now being repurposed for modern public transit projects, like the West Midlands Metro. Heading northeast from Walsall, the other half of the South Staffordshire line carved a route towards Lichfield and onwards to Burton-upon-Trent. Diverging just north of the station at Rycroft Junction, this section linked Walsall to Pelsall, Brownhills, Burntwood, Lichfield, Alrewas and Burton-upon-Trent, serving the collieries of Staffordshire, before eventually joining the national network at Wishaw Junction. It served both local passenger needs and heavy freight routing, avoiding the congested hubs further south. While passenger trains were withdrawn in the 1960s, parts of the alignment remained safeguarded or in use for freight, preserving a ghost of the region's historic rail geography. The trackbed between Rycroft Junction and just south of Lichfield City now forms the Maclean Greenway. The section between Lichfield City and Lichfield-Trent Valley is now part of the cross-city line towards the royal town of Sutton Coldfield, Erdington, Birmingham, Longbridge, and then either to Bromsgrove or Redditch in Worcestershire. And the route from Wishaw Junction to Burton-upon-Trent is used by cross-country routes between Nottingham, Derby and Birmingham. Walsall also serves as the starting point for the Sutton Park Line, a historically contentious route built by the Midland Railway in 1879 that cuts through the scenic Sutton Park. Originally carrying passengers and freight towards Wateraughton and Castle Bromwich, the line lost its passenger services in 1965, but remains a highly strategic freight-only corridor that allows goods trains to bypass central Birmingham. In recent years, significant momentum has gathered to restore passenger trains to the route, highlighted by land purchases and concrete plans to reopen a station at Aldridge, spearheading a long-awaited revival of the line for local commuters. There is also talks of possibly reopening the route fully, with stations at Streatley, Sutton Coldfield, and near Castle Vale/Minworth. But these remain ambitious for long-term planning than short-term planning. Another lost connection radiating from the station was the former Wolverhampton and Walsall Railway, which opened in 1872. This direct link left Walsall and travelled via North Walsall, Bentley and Short Heath, providing a vital bridge between two of the Black Country's largest manufacturing hubs. The route was ultimately absorbed by the Midland Railway and saw heavy use for goods traffic and local passenger services. However, it fell victim to mid-20th century railway rationalisation and was eventually closed. The route also allowed freight and passengers to continue towards Castle Bromwich and Wateraughton from Wolverhampton via Wednesfield, Willenhall, Walsall, Aldridge, and Sutton Coldfield. Adding to the dense web of Victorian infrastructure was the former Darlaston Loop Line, which provided a localised deviation from the main passenger corridors. Leaving the main alignment south of Walsall, the loop was designed to directly serve the heavy manufacturing works and densely populated districts around Darlaston, before continuing towards Wednesbury town. It functioned as an essential commuter and freight artery, ensuring that goods and workers could access specific industrial centres without clogging the main direct lines. Like many local branches, the loop was dismantled in the 20th century, erasing a key piece of the area's intricate railway puzzle. Most recently, Walsall Station's standing in the regional network became a point of intense controversy, following the long-awaited reopening of the Walsall-Wolverhampton line in March 2026. Rather than running a dedicated local shuttle that would terminate at Walsall, transport planners utilised an existing cross-regional service from Shrewsbury and Wolverhampton that serves the new Willenhall and Darlaston stations but bypasses Walsall Station altogether, routing trains directly toward Birmingham New Street. This operational decision sparked significant anger among locals and local politicians, who argued that bypassing the town centre undermined the massive regional investment. While transport authorities cite capacity and integration priorities, they have acknowledged the frustration, noting that supplementary direct shuttles to Walsall remain a potential fix for the future.
Bentley Railway Station was a Victorian-era passenger stop that opened on the 1st of November 1872 as part of the Wolverhampton and Walsall Railway, serving the Walsall areas of Beechdale, Bentley, Birchills, and Reedswood. Despite its strategic location, it struggled with passenger numbers and holds the distinction of being the earliest station on the route to close, ceasing passenger operations on the 1st of October 1898. Although the wider line survived for decades, gradually losing passenger services between 1910 and 1931 and transitioning to freight, its fate as a through route was sealed in 1964 when the construction of the M6 motorway severed the line between Walsall and Wednesfield. The remaining segments ultimately closed in the early 1980s. Today, physical evidence of Bentley Station is scarce, though a few notable remnants survive, including a former bridge abutment on Bloxwich Lane and an intact track bed heading toward Rycroft Junction. This surviving section runs parallel to Reedswood Way toward Reedswood Retail Park before dipping under the road, passing beneath the Walsall Canal, and tracking back toward central Walsall. Beyond this immediate area, the historic route toward Wolverhampton presents a diverse patchwork of modern uses. The formation has been mostly converted into a greenway between Bentley and Short Heath, though sections are built over by industrial estates or abandoned between Willenhall Fire Station, the site of Short Heath Station, and Strings Lane. From Strings Lane past the former Willenhall Stafford Street station site in town to Steel Parkway in Wednesfield, the route continues as a footpath. Further along, the alignment through the site of Wednesfield Station up to the Worley and Essington Canal is occupied by the Wednesfield Way, A4124, road. Crossing a now demolished bridge over the canal, the route through Heath Town Station toward Heath Town Junction remains overgrown and out of use with tracks still in place, while the final approach toward Wolverhampton High Level remains active as part of the West Coast Main Line's Store Valley Line. The corridor was previously evaluated for a transport revival under the 5Ws West Midlands Metro route, which was planned to connect Walsall, Wednesbury, Willenhall, Wednesfield, and Wolverhampton. However, this proposal stalled when Walsall Council withdrew its support in favour of prioritising the heavy rail Walsall-Wolverhampton line instead. Consequently, the former railway corridor remains split between public greenways, road infrastructure, and quiet abandonment. Birchills railway station operated as an essential local link for the working class and industrial neighbourhoods north of Walsall town centre, catering specifically to the residential and manufacturing pockets of Beechdale, Birchills, Blakenell Heath, and Leamore. Because the surrounding district was characterised by a dense mix of foundries, factories, and rapidly expanding Victorian housing, the station acted as a vital pedestrian artery for workers and shoppers navigating the northern fringes of the Black Country before the widespread adoption of municipal tramways and motor buses. The operational history of the stop reflected the experimental nature of early regional railway scheduling. When it first opened in February 1858, it was designated strictly as a limited service station operating on Saturday market days only, accommodating locals travelling into Walsall to trade and buy provisions. Recognising the steady demand from the local population, the network upgraded its status, and it officially opened as a full-through station on the 1st of June 1858. In later years, as traffic patterns evolved and operational economies took hold, the site was frequently listed in public timetables and railway documents as Birchills Halt, a testament to its modest platform infrastructure and short-formation local stopping services. The pressures of World War I, combined with mounting competition from electric tram networks and declining rural suburban passenger numbers, sealed the fate of many minor halts across the region. Birchills closed to passengers on the 1st of January 1916 as a wartime economy measure and was never reprieved. In the decades that followed, the physical infrastructure was completely dismantled, leaving the former site swallowed by the changing industrial and urban landscape of modern Walsall. Even as regional rail policy shifted dramatically in the late 20th and early 21st centuries, leading to the successful passenger revival and subsequent electrification of the wider Chase Line corridor, Birchills remained firmly consigned to history. Unlike neighbouring or newly constructed stations designed to capture modern commuter flows, the old stop was never considered for revival in any transport plans, ensuring that the legacy of Birchills Halt survives entirely as a forgotten chapter of the Black Country's Victorian rail network. The original Bloxwich railway station officially opened on the 1st of February 1858, positioned further south than its modern counterpart off Station Street closer to the town centre. It served as a crucial transport hub for the local Bloxwich communities of Blakenell Heath, Dudley Fields, and Bloxwich Town Centre, as well as the neighbouring Walsall areas of Beechdale and Leamore. The station was intimately tied to the surrounding street layout and local infrastructure, sitting directly adjacent to a busy level crossing that intersected Reeves Street, Willenhall Lane, Station Street, and Croxtalls Road. For over a century, the station functioned as a vital local stop before succumbing to network reductions, officially closing to passengers on the 18th of January 1965. Despite the withdrawal of passenger services, the surrounding rail alignment and its associated level crossing remained active fixtures of the local streetscape, continuing to manage road and rail traffic through the subsequent decades. When passenger services were restored to the route with the reopening of the Chase line, the modern replacement station opened a few hundred yards north of the former station site, situated off Croxdean Avenue. Years later, as part of further modernising and electrifying the Chase line to accommodate faster electric services, the historic level crossing encompassing Reeves Street, Willenhall Lane, Station Street, and Croxtalls Road was permanently closed and removed, alongside the old signal box. Today, physical reminders of the original Bloxwich station are exceptionally scarce following the removal of the signal box and level crossing. The most prominent surviving architectural relic is the former Station Hotel on Station Street, a historic local landmark that operated as a public house until between 2009 and 2011 before being converted into a private residence. Standing near the footprint of the long-gone station, the former pub serves as the final tangible witness to the town's original 19th-century railway hub. North Walsall Railway Station officially opened on the 1st of November 1872 as part of the Wolverhampton and Walsall Railway. Situated roughly a mile north of Walsall town centre, the station served as an important local transport stop for the surrounding Walsall suburbs of Birchills, Coalpool, Leamore, Reedswood, and Rycroft. Beyond its local passenger role, North Walsall was a significant operational junction where routes converging from Wolverhampton, Walsall, and the Sutton Park line met. This layout allowed trains to route directly into Walsall or head eastward via the Sutton Park line towards Sutton Coldfield, Castle Bromwich, or Waterorton. Despite its strategic positioning, passenger services at the station were short-lived compared to main lines, and North Walsall closed to passengers on the 13th of July 1925. Following the withdrawal of passenger traffic, the route remained operational for freight. Goods traffic continued to run toward Birchills Power Station until 1982, while the western link toward Wolverhampton survived until 1964, when the construction of the M6 motorway physically severed the route between Bentley and Short Heath. Over the decades following its closure, the disused railway cutting fell into a state of severe neglect, becoming a hotspot for accumulated litter and persistent fly tipping. To address these local issues, a proposal was submitted to Walsall Council to permanently fill in the deep cutting stretching between Walsall and the area just north of North Walsall near the present-day Reedswood Retail Park. Centro confirmed the initiative, and between late 2015 and early 2016, heavy construction work began to fill the cutting with earth and remove a nearby pedestrian overpass. Today, the former cutting is completely backfilled with dirt, though a very small, fenced-off section at both ends is utilized by local pedestrians as a shortcut to cross between the two housing estates situated on either side of the former track bed. Today, virtually no physical evidence of North Walsall Station remains, save for surviving road bridges and the remaining track bed alignment heading toward Bentley. Like other sections of the defunct Wolverhampton and Walsall Railway, the corridor was initially evaluated to form part of the 5Ws West Midlands Metro route, a proposed tram network intended to link Walsall, Wednesbury, Willenhall, Wednesfield, and Wolverhampton. However, after Walsall Council withdrew its support for the metro scheme in favour of prioritising the heavy rail Walsall-Wolverhampton line, the old North Walsall route was left out of modern transit plans, surviving today merely as backfilled earth, local pathways, and urban green space. Pelsall Railway Station occupies a unique place in local transport geography, while including Pelsall Railway Station in the broader network of Walsall's railway stations. May spark heavy local debate, two undeniable factors firmly link Pelsall with the wider urban area: the continuous connecting roads running between Pelsall, Norton Keynes, Brownhills, Shellfield, Bloxwich and Rushall, and the shared WS3 postcode district, which it spans alongside Bloxwich, Rushall and parts of Walsall's northern urban fringe. The station itself at Pelsall was opened in 1849 along the route of the South Staffordshire Line, operating between Walsall and Lichfield. Beyond its passenger duties, the station served as an important industrial link, featuring a small single-track branch that diverged just after the platforms to serve the Atlas Brickworks and Leeswood Colliery. While the connection to Leeswood Colliery closed in the 1930s, the branch continued to serve the Atlas Brickworks until 1964, when this small industrial spur was finally closed. In addition to this infrastructure, an industrial-only link connected Norton Junction from Riders Hayes Crossing and the former Pelsall Colliery, facilitating heavy mineral traffic from the local coalfield. Like many rural and suburban routes across the country, the passenger service fell victim to the nationwide beaching axe, with Pelsall Station officially closing on the 18th of January 1965, though general goods services had already ceased a few months earlier on the 10th of August 1964. Despite passenger withdrawal, the main line itself remained operational for through freight traffic between Walsall and Lichfield for another 2 decades, until the route between Rycroft Junction and the Anglesey sidings in Brownhills was finally closed in 1984. In the years following its closure, the former railway alignment and station site were completely transformed, and the old track bed now forms a popular section of the Maclean Greenway stretching between Rushall and Lichfield. Over time, the surrounding infrastructure has seen local modifications. Notably, in 2016, green safety fencing was erected across both sides of the bridge carrying the former line over Vicarage Road after a spate of youths throwing stones and debris down onto passing cars and pedestrians. Today, virtually nothing physical remains of the station itself, save for a few surviving fragments of fencing on the old Walsall platform and the former station master's house, which still stands immediately north on Station Road. Additionally, the nearby pub is the Railway Inn, and the line is protected for potential future reuse for either railway or the West Midlands Metro. Pleck Railway Station was a key local stop that served the Walsall suburbs of Allenwell, Bescot, Carmer, Palfrey, and Pleck, alongside Walsall town centre which sat just over a mile away. It held the unique historical distinction of being the final railway station located within Walsall's immediate town centre network. Geographically and operationally, the station was situated on the connecting railway line that linked the former Grand Junction Railway with the former South Staffordshire Line, both of which now make up parts of the modern Chase Line and the Walsall-Wolverhampton Line. The operational history of the station was characterized by a fragmented timeline of openings, closures, and brief revivals. It first opened to the public on the 1st of October 1881, providing an essential local link for the densely populated industrial and residential districts surrounding central Walsall. However, like many secondary urban stops of the era, it fell victim to wartime network retrenchment and closed its doors on the 1st of January 1917 during the First World War. Following local appeals and changing regional traffic patterns, the station was granted a reprieve and reopened on the 1st of May 1924. This second phase of its operational life lasted for over 3 decades, accommodating local commuters during the interwar and post-Second World War periods. Ultimately, rising competition from expanding bus networks and a steady decline in passenger numbers rendered the stop unsustainable. Pleck Station closed permanently to passengers on the 17th of November 1958, bringing an end to its decades of service. In the years following its closure, the physical infrastructure of the station and its connecting curve was largely dismantled or redeveloped. Today, while the surrounding historic rail corridors remain vital arteries for modern West Midlands train services, no visible trace of Pleck Station survives on the ground. Rushall Railway Station was an early passenger stop that opened on the 9th of April 1849, serving the Walsall areas of Blakeney Heath, Coalpool, Goscote, Rushall, and Rycroft. It operated along the South Staffordshire Line until it closed on the 1st of March 1909. This closure made it the second earliest station to shut down on the entire South Staffordshire Line. The only earlier closure was Witchner Junction Station, which opened in 1855 and closed in 1877 due to a bitter dispute between the Midland Railway and the South Staffordshire Railway. Normal operations through that northern link were only restored after the London and North Western Railway took over the South Staffordshire Railway and successfully repaired relations with the Midland Railway, finally allowing the route between Lichfield and Burton to be used again. Following the closure of Rushall Station itself, the local line remained active for goods traffic until general freight services were formally withdrawn in 1964. Passenger services along the wider regional corridor followed shortly after, succumbing to closures in 1965. Despite the end of regular passenger and general goods operations, the route remained open for through freight traffic until the ultimate closure of the section between Rycroft Junction and the Anglesey sidings at Brownhills in 1984. Today, The former site of Rushall Station and its surrounding rail alignment have been completely transformed, with the old track bed now incorporated into the McLean Greenway. Virtually nothing physical remains of the station infrastructure, the old signal box, or the level crossing today. Despite the loss of the original buildings and tracks, the corridor has been officially preserved for potential future transport use. This ongoing safeguarding keeps open the possibility of a return to heavy rail or conversion for the West Midlands metro network. The original Walsall railway station had its origins in 1837 when it was opened by the South Staffordshire Railway as an indirect link to the area. A decade later, the Grand Junction Company laid a branch line from Bescot to a temporary depot in the town at Bridgeman Place. However, it was not until the 9th of April 1849 that a permanent through station was finally opened on the present-day site, establishing a much more robust rail connection for the growing town. As Walsall expanded and rail traffic multiplied, the infrastructure evolved to meet the demands of a bustling industrial hub. The station served as a critical nexus for passenger and goods movement across the region, connecting local communities into the broader web of the West Midlands network through decades of heavy industrial growth and changing corporate ownership. Eventually, shifting transport needs, modernisation, and commercial redevelopment rendered the historic Victorian structures obsolete. The original station buildings were completely demolished to make way for modern urban land use. Today, no physical traces of the historic station remain above ground. The former site is entirely redeveloped and is now occupied by the Jerome Retail Park and its associated customer car park. The present-day Walsall railway station sits opposite the site, and trains can be seen entering and leaving the station from the car park. Wood Green, Old Bescot Railway Station, or as it was originally known as Bescot Bridge Railway Station, was opened on the 4th of July 1837, when it opened as Bescot Bridge on the newly established Grand Junction Railway between Wolverhampton and Birmingham. Positioned in a shallow cutting crossed by the Walsall to Wednesbury Turnpike Road, just north of the boundary dividing the two towns, the facility served as the primary railway stop for the towns of Walsall and Wednesbury. Because Walsall generated the highest volume of travellers, a light omnibus van operated regularly between the station and the town centre to accommodate passengers. Designated as a second-class stop, the station experienced a limited initial service schedule, with only 2 trains running in each direction during 1837, which gradually increased to 4 daily trains in each direction by 1839. Historical documentation regarding the station's early naming conventions contains notable nuances and occasional variations. In contemporary timetables such as Bradshaw's Guides, the stop was initially referred to simply as Walsall. Early railway author George Neal recalled in 1904 that the stop originally opened as Bescot Bridge, temporarily adopted the name Walsall, and then reverted to its original designation as Bescot Bridge in 1847 when the South Staffordshire Railway opened the connecting branch between Bescot Junction and the town centre. Furthermore, early spelling variants frequently appeared in contemporary accounts, with Freeling documenting the location as Bescot in 1841. Following initial adjustments, the station eventually closed its doors on the 1st of August 1850 amidst evolving regional rail connections. However, the site was given a second lease on life decades later, reopening on the 1st of February 1881 under the updated name Wood Green, Old Bescot. In its second operational phase, the station layout featured platforms situated on either side of the double running line, with both platforms accessed directly from the road overbridge. Notably, the location handled exclusively passengers and parcels, possessing no dedicated goods handling facilities. As regional traffic patterns shifted and larger urban terminals assumed primary importance, the secondary stop faced mounting pressures, culminating in its permanent closure to the travelling public on the 5th of May 1941. Today, the historic site is mostly buried beneath the modern-day Junction 9 interchange at Wednesbury, with the M6 motorway running directly above the old alignment. Despite the complete erasure of the station infrastructure, the underlying rail corridor remains very much active, continuing to handle regular passenger services operating between Wolverhampton, Birmingham, and Walsall.